We already live in a metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg does not have to build one. We're already there. And I can prove it. You just have to think about it in a different way. So, what do I mean? Well, first of all, what is the metaverse? Well, as we think of it now, it's basically a world within a world. You know what I mean? It's like the video game you're playing that was created from people that live in this world. But when your mind is playing the game, your mind is in that video game world. When you're playing Fortnite, your brain thinks it's inside the world of Fortnite. Now, yeah, I know you're looking at a flat screen. You may not think I'm in the TV. That's not what people think. But if you look at it from the outside, okay, you're sitting there watching someone play a game staring at a TV, right? And they're playing whatever, Fortnite, just for an example. Their brain is internalizing everything the light sensors on the front of their skull takes in. Their brain is sitting in a bone bowl, right? Their skull, and has no idea about the outside world except for your sensors. So you're internalizing this world. Your brain thinks you're in that world. You have visual stimulation and you have audible stimulation that ties into what's happening here. So as far as your brain knows, you're in that world. And one way to sort of prove that or give you a sense of that is if you've ever been watching a movie and then at one point you sort of something gets your attention and you look away from the screen and you realize you were so zoned into what you were watching that you were there. You really didn't have senses of what was going around you in the real world. And it's kind of like you were asleep. And that honestly is a really relaxing state if you can get to that point. Because your mind just kind of lets go. So, as far as the metaverse goes, if you think about your brain and your overall thought process absorbing information and acting on that, well, if you look at how much time people spend absorbing these social websites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and all the rest of them, after a while your brain connects those things that you see on the screen as reality. And so then you go out in the world acting to things and reacting based on the things that you saw on the screen that were not in reality, right? The screen that you're looking at is just pictures and videos that live on a web server in some big warehouse somewhere. That's what Facebook is. So, it's just interesting to think that you can have a real world perception by something you saw on the screen. And one way to sort of prove that or to think about it is how many people do you know see a movie at a young age, and then that movie kind of defines their life. Like I know someone who saw movies like Tombstone as like a teenager, and uh, and they really sort of have ever since kept a like an attitude or an aspect of that movie in everything they do since then. It's really kind of crazy how that can affect you. So, if you take that and you put the just constant flow of video and images and sounds from places like TikTok, then the world that exists in your brain may not reflect real reality, because like influencers make videos specifically to sell something. It's not them living their real life and they just happen to be wearing these pair of shoes. It's this company is paying them to put on these shoes and act happy and go to some, go on some trip. So you're internalizing this person acting this way with this certain product, but that's not real. It's not really them doing real life. It's a manufactured version. So then people go out and they buy the thing and they act like they're now like those people in the ads. And if you take that further, you end up looking at things like how pop culture affects people. So TV shows, movies, music, all of these things, the way actors and musicians dress and speak, those inject and infect society and spread around to people. And you see and hear things that those people do now in society and spreading through there. Yeah, and then go a step further, and then all of these people are watching a specific show that they consider to be news, but not everybody watches the same one. So there are different sections of people that are informed about different things in different ways, or the same things in different ways. So the way they go out, the way one person goes out into the world and acts around people is based on certain information and a certain perspective on things. And then you have, the person right next to them at the, at the stoplight that has a very different perspective on the exact same issue or whatever's going on, based on something they saw on a screen. And if it's the news, it happened in a studio with a person sitting in front of a bunch of lights and a big camera and a teleprompter with microphones. Not, not first-hand knowledge from the source most of the time. So if you ball all of that back up, yeah, people are living in the metaverse because people are so absorbed in what's going on the screens that it's infecting their everyday life, whether they know it or not. And their everyday life is their life. So the metaverse isn't a video game. The metaverse is how the video game affects reality. And I think that's a more clear picture of this future than the ones that we see on movies like, well, like any of the futuristic movies that we've seen lately. I think I think it's going to get really hard to know what the truth is and know what truth the person you're talking to has bought into. Because if you don't have firsthand knowledge, how do you know? Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I think Zuckerberg missed it building a video game called the metaverse. It ain't it. He's already built the metaverse by the algorithms that affect people and the way they think on a daily basis. It's kind of crazy. Not sure where we're going from here, but this is where we are. Welcome to the metaverse.